The rain hammered the windshield like accusations as Alex gripped the steering wheel. His father's old pickup truck skidding on the slick interstate toward the life he never wanted. In the rearview mirror, the city lights of Chicago blurred into a watery grave. And with them, the ghost of Dad's laughter faded for good. But it was the call from Mom. Cold, clipped, "Come home, Alex. You're all I have left now." That twisted the knife deepest, because she didn't mean it. Not really. Home was a battlefield where his half-brother wore the crown, and Alex was just the shadow in the frame. He pulled into the driveway of the two-story Colonial in Elmwood, Ohio, just after midnight, the engine coughing its last as thunder cracked overhead like a judge's gavel. The porch light flickered on, casting long shadows, and there stood Jake, tall, broad-shouldered, the golden boy with that easy grin that made Mom melt. "Hey, little bro," Jake said, clapping him on the back too hard, like he was sealing a deal. But Alex caught the flicker in his eyes, the unspoken truth. Dad's death hadn't bridged the gap between them. It had only widened the chasm, and Mom's favoritism was the fault line ready to split them apart. Inside, the house smelled of lavender potpourri and regret, Mom's arms wrapping around him in a hug that felt like obligation. "You're soaked, Alex. Go dry off." Jake made coffee. Her voice was syrupy for Jake, who lounged against the kitchen counter like he owned the place. Which, in her eyes, he did. Alex nodded, biting back the burn in his throat, because saying it out loud. "I miss him too, Mom, but you never really saw me." Would only invite the storm she'd been brewing since Dad married her and brought Alex, the surprise from his first marriage, into the mix. That first week blurred into a haze of funeral arrangements and forced family dinners, where Mom's stories always circled back to Jake's football trophies from high school, his engineering internship lined up for fall at Ohio State. "My boy's going places," she'd say, her hand squeezing Jake's knee under the table, while Alex pushed peas around his plate, invisible as the steam rising from the casserole. He was 18 now, fresh out of community college in Chicago, chasing a graphic design dream Dad had championed with late-night sketches and, "You're a creator, kid. Don't let anyone dim that light." But here, in Elmwood, that light felt like a candle in a wind tunnel. Alex retreated to the attic room they'd converted for him years ago. Dusty boxes of Dad's tools stacked against the slanted ceiling. A single window overlooking the neighbor's overgrown yard. It was a far cry from his bustling Chicago apartment, but solitude was his sanctuary. That's where he first texted Ryan, the guy he'd met at a queer art exhibit last month. All sharp wit and ink-sleeved arms that told stories of rebellion. "Made it to Hell's Half-Acre," Alex typed, attaching a photo of the faded, "Welcome to Elmwood" sign. Ryan's reply buzzed back instantly. "Sounds like a bad country song. Send rescue cords. I'll ride in on a white horse." Alex smiled for the first time since the burial, his thumb hovering over the screen, heart stuttering like it did every time Ryan's name lit up his phone. Ryan Hayes was a force. 20. A barista/street artist from Cleveland, with hazel eyes that crinkled when he laughed and a sketchbook always tucked under his arm. They'd connected over shared drawings at the exhibit, Ryan's bold lines of urban decay mirroring Alex's softer portraits of hidden emotions. "You're the quiet storm," Ryan had said that night, their fingers brushing as they passed a beer. Now, with miles between them, those texts became lifelines. Memes about shitty small-town vibes, voice notes of Ryan humming indie folk tunes, late-night confessions about coming-out wars with families who loved you but not enough. But Elmwood wasn't just small. It was suffocating. At the local diner where Alex picked up shifts waiting tables, Dad's old contacts pulling strings, whispers followed him like smoke. "Heard the old man's boy is one of those," the regulars muttered, code for the F-word that hung in the air like grease. Mom didn't help. Her silences at home spoke volumes. One evening, as Alex cleared the table, she cornered him by the sink. "You need to toughen up, Alex. Jake never moped like this after his losses." Her eyes flicked to the rainbow pin on his backpack, peeking from the laundry basket, a gift from Ryan. "And that nonsense is not helping. This town's traditional. You want to fit in, act like it." The words landed like slaps, but Alex swallowed them. nodding because arguing meant losing the roof over his head. Jake overheard from the hallway, his shadow lingering, but he said nothing, just grabbed his keys and headed out to meet friends, the screen door slamming like a dismissal. That night, Alex drove to the edge of town, where cornfields met the highway, and called Ryan. "It's like I'm the ghost in my own life," he said, voice cracking over the speaker. Ryan's response was a low, steady rumble. "Then let's make you the hero. Come to Cleveland next weekend. We'll paint the town." Literally. The drive to Cleveland was a revelation. Windows down, wind whipping through as Alex blasted Ryan's playlist of the National and Hozier tracks that ached with longing. Ryan waited outside his walk-up apartment in Tremont, paint-splattered jeans and a grin that lit the dusk. They spent the weekend lost in each other, not rushing, just existing. Sketching murals on abandoned warehouses under sodium lights, sharing falafel at a hole-in-the-wall with queer couples laughing loud and unapologetic, curling up on Ryan's thrift store couch to watch old rom-coms where the sidekicks got happy endings. On Saturday night, as fireworks popped over the Cuyahoga River for some forgotten festival, Ryan turned to him, thumb tracing Alex's jaw. "You're not a shadow, Alex. You're the damn eclipse. Everyone else fades around you." Their first kiss was soft, tasting of river mist and possibility, sealing something fragile and fierce. Back in Elmwood, the glow lingered like a secret bruise. Alex threw himself into designs on his laptop, emailing portfolios to Chicago firms, dreaming of a shared apartment with Ryan where mornings meant coffee and sketches, not tiptoeing around mom's judgments. Jake noticed the change, cornering him one afternoon in the garage while tinkering with Dad's old Harley. "You seem lighter. Got a girl." There was no malice in his tone, just that brotherly curiosity laced with the distance of half-blood. Alex hesitated, heart pounding. Dad had known, had hugged him tight after the coming out, whispering, "Love's love, son. Own it." But Jake? He was Mom's echo. "Not a girl," Alex said finally, wiping grease from his hands. "A guy, Ryan. He's everything." The words hung there, vulnerable as exposed wire. Jake's wrench stilled, his face unreadable for a beat too long. Then he clapped Alex's shoulder, lighter this time. "Hey, if he makes you happy, that's what counts. Mom'll come around." It was the first crack in the wall between them, and Alex clung to it, imagining a family remade in Dad's image. Unconditional, unbroken. But cracks spread. Mom found the pin again, this time tucked in Alex's drawer during a surprise cleaning. She confronted him in the kitchen, voice a whip. "I won't have this perversion under my roof. Jake's future is bright. He's dating Sarah from church, planning a life here. You're throwing it away on experiments." Tears stung Alex's eyes, but he held her gaze. "It's not an experiment, Mom. It's me." She turned away, muttering about fixing this. And that night, Jake's truck idled late in the driveway, voices murmuring inside. Mom's pleas, Jake's reluctant agreements. The betrayal came swift as a summer storm. Alex's phone buzzed during his diner shift. A screenshot from an anonymous account. Ryan's face blurred but unmistakable, tagged in a post from Jake's circle. "Elmwood's got a fairy in the family now. Watch your sons, folks." The caption burned. Spreading the love, courtesy of family secrets. Jake's profile liked it first. Alex's hands shook as he pocketed the phone, the world tilting. When he stormed home, Mom was in the living room, Bible open like a shield. Jake slouched on the couch, guilt etching his features. "It was a joke," Jake stammered, but his eyes darted to Mom. She was worried, thought intervention might help. Intervention? Alex's voice broke, raw as the rain starting outside. "You outed me to the whole town because she worried? Dad would hate this. You both." Mom rose, her face a mask of righteous fury. "Your father was weak, indulging your delusions. Jake's my real son, the one who listens, who builds a legacy. You're breaking us." The words eviscerated, peeling back layers until Alex stood exposed, the boy who'd lost his anchor twice over. He fled to the attic, barricading the door with a chair, sobs racking him as texts from Ryan flooded in. What the hell is this? Call me. But pride or shame kept his phone silent. Downstairs, Jake knocked softly. Alex, open up. I fucked up. Mom pushed and I didn't think. Lies, all of it. Alex heard the engine rev, Jake driving off to Sarah's, escaping the mess he'd made. Hours bled into dawn. Alex packing a duffel with Dad's old sketchpad. The Harley keys glinting like a dare. The bike roared to life in the garage. A mechanical dirge, carrying him toward Cleveland as lightning forked the sky. Ryan's door flew open before Alex could knock, arms enveloping him in the hallway's dim light. You idiot, Ryan whispered, not pulling away. You could have called. They talked until the storm passed. Alex spilling the venom of favoritism, the sting of betrayal. Ryan listening with that steady gaze, hands never leaving his. You're not broken, Alex. You're free now. They didn't sleep that night. Instead, they planned, Alex crashing on Ryan's couch, job hunting in Cleveland's art scene, sketching futures where family was chosen, not bloodbound. Weeks turned to months, the Harley becoming Alex's commute to a graphic gig at a local ad firm. Ryan's murals blooming on city walls with Alex's concepts woven in. Jake texted apologies, sporadic and hollow. Miss you. Bro, mom's sorry too. Alex read them in silence, archiving like old receipts. Mom's call came on a crisp autumn day, voice frail over the line. The doctors say, "It's cancer, Alex. Like your father's." The word hung, a ghost revisited. He drove back alone, the miles a meditation on forgiveness. Not absolution, but release. Elmwood looked smaller, the colonial sagging under grief's weight. Mom lay in the hospice bed they'd set up, Jake at her side, his eyes hollowed by vigils. I was wrong, she rasped when Alex entered, her hand trembling toward his. Feared losing you to a world that chews up dreamers. But I lost you anyway. Tears traced her cheeks, mirroring his own. Jake stood, voice thick. I was a coward. Dad would have kicked my ass. Forgive me? Alex nodded, the knot in his chest loosening. Not mending the scars, but allowing air. They sat vigil together, stories flowing like balm. Dad's fishing trips, Jake's hidden sketches he'd burned in shame. Alex's love for Ryan, spoken aloud without flinching. Mom passed at dawn, the room bathed in pink light, her last words a whisper. Be bright, boys. For him. The funeral was quiet, neighbors offering pies and condolences. The whispers faded to irrelevance. Jake hugged Alex tight afterward, promising change. A move to Cleveland, therapy for the favoritism's poison. Brothers for real this time. Alex returned to Ryan's arms that night. The city lights a constellation of second chances. It's not perfect, he said, tracing Ryan's tattoos. But it's ours. Ryan smiled, pulling him close. That's the American dream. Babe, messy, heartfelt, and worth the fight. Under the stars, with Jake's text lighting his phone. Proud of you. Alex finally believed it. Love wasn't a crown to wear or a shadow to flee. It was the quiet revolution of choosing light, every damn day. The Cleveland skyline became Alex's North Star. Its jagged edges a promise of reinvention amid the Rust Belt grit. Ryan's apartment, with its exposed brick and mismatched furniture scavenged from estate sales, felt like a canvas, blank, begging for their marks. Mornings started with the hiss of the espresso machine at Ryan's coffee shop gig. Alex sketching logos over steaming mugs while Ryan frothed milk with theatrical flair. Double shot of courage for the artist in residence. Ryan would quip, sliding the cup with a wink that still sent sparks through Alex's veins. But echoes of Elmwood lingered, unbidden. A client at the ad firm, middle-aged, paunchy, with a handshake like wet fish, eyed Alex's rainbow lanyard and muttered about urban decay in more ways than one. Alex laughed it off, channeling the barb into a subversive poster series for a local LGBTQ+ center. Bold colors clashing against faded billboards, tagline "We bloom in the cracks." Ryan helped paste the first one up on a viaduct near the flats, their laughter mingling with the river's lap as paint cans clattered. This is us, Ryan said, stepping back to admire the work. his arm slung casual around Alex's waist. Defiant and pretty as hell. Jake's visits started tentatively. A weekend in November. Him bunking on their lumpy futon with a six-pack and stories of Mom's empty house rattling like a ghost ship. Sold the Harley, Jake confessed over pizza. Grease-slicked fingers twisting a napkin. Felt wrong without you riding shotgun. Alex watched him, searching for the boy who'd betrayed him, but saw instead a man unraveling. Divorce papers from Sarah on the horizon. Her traditional values clashing with his newfound unease. They talked late into the night, Jake admitting the favoritism's toll. Mom always said I was the real one, like you were practice. Made me feel like a king on a throne of sand. Families are fucked up puzzles, Alex replied, handing him a beer. Dad was the glue. Without him, we're just pieces. Ryan joined them, diffusing tension with bad jokes and a deck of cards. And by Sunday, Jake was sketching clumsily on Alex's pad. A lopsided portrait of the three of them, brothers and more. It hung crooked on the fridge, a talisman against old wounds. Winter clamped down hard, snow blanketing the city in hush. Alex's portfolio caught a Chicago agency's eye. A remote freelance gig that paid enough for him and Ryan to buy a one-bedroom in Ohio City, with space for a proper studio. Excitement buzzed like static. Ryan planned a housewarming mural on their fire escape. Alex mocked up mood boards of mid-century vibes meets street art. But doubt crept in during quiet hours, when Ryan worked doubles and Alex stared at the ceiling, replaying Mom's deathbed plea. Be bright. Was he, or just flickering? The call came on a gray January afternoon. Alex elbow-deep in ink at the kitchen table. Unknown number. Elmwood area code. Alex? It's Pastor Ellis. Your mother's will. There's a stipulation. The words tumbled out. A codicil, buried in legal fine print, tying the family home's inheritance to Jake's moral stability. Code for marriage, kids, the whole heteronormative script. Alex's share? Contingent on reconciliation. Whatever that meant in Mom's twisted lexicon. She wanted you boys together, the pastor droned, oblivious to the irony. But Jake's balking. Says he won't touch it without you. Rage boiled up, hot and familiar. Alex hung up, slamming his phone down hard enough to crack the screen's edge. Ryan found him pacing, face thunderous. What fresh hell? He asked, pulling Alex into a hug that smelled of vanilla lattes. The story spilled. Betrayal's sequel. Mom's ghost puppeteering from beyond. Ryan's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed even. That's not love, that's control. You don't owe her your soul. Yet doubt wormed deeper. The house held Dad's workshop, memories etched in with shavings and laughter. Selling it piecemeal felt like erasure. Jake arrived unannounced 2 days later, boots shedding slush on the welcome mat, a manila envelope clutched like a grenade. Read it, he said, voice rough, tossing it on the coffee table. The pages crackled with legalese, Mom's looping signature a flourish of finality. Jake slumped into a chair, rubbing his temples. I told the lawyer to burn it, but it's Dad's tools, the garage he built with his hands. Can't let strangers pave over that. His eyes met Alex's, raw and pleading. We fight it together? For him. The offer dangled, tempting as forbidden fruit. Ryan hovered in the kitchen, silent sentinel, but Alex saw the flicker of hurt. Family pulling you back, always back. Why now? Alex demanded, voice steady despite the quake inside. After you hung me out to dry? Jake winced, leaning forward. Because I'm done being her echo. Therapy's kicking my ass. Seeing how I parroted her bullshit to feel safe. You're my brother, Alex. Gay, straight, whatever, blood's blood. The words landed softer than expected. A bridge half-built over the chasm. They hired a lawyer in Cleveland. A no-nonsense queer woman named Lena with a penchant for pro bono family dramas. Meetings in her loft office became ritual. Coffee strong as resolve. Jake's awkward jokes easing the tension. Ryan tagged along once, sketching caricatures of the legal jargon on napkins, turning codicil into a cartoon squid with tentacles of regret. This is war, Lena declared, filing motions with the precision of a surgeon. Undue influence, emotional coercion, the works. Will carve you a fair share. No strings. As spring thawed the city, so did the case. Depositions unearthed Mom's diaries. Pages of favoritism's genesis. Her own mother's rejection fueling the cycle. Feared Alex would leave like his mother did. One entry read, a crack in the villain she'd become. Jake read it aloud in Lena's office, voice breaking, and for the first time, Alex saw his half-brother not as rival, but relic of the same shattered lineage. We're both her sons, Jake murmured. Just handled the breakage different. Victory came in May, a settlement slicing the estate evenly, no stipulations, just equity. Jake used his half for a down payment on a duplex in Tremont, one unit for him, the other an open invite. Room for your art empire, he teased Alex over celebratory beers on their new fire escape. Ryan's mural half finished behind them. A phoenix rising from cornstalks, wings of circuit boards and rainbows. The air hummed with possibility, laughter cutting the dusk. But joy's underbelly is vulnerability. Ryan pulled Alex aside that night, as Jake snored on the couch, concern etching his brow. This pull back to them. Is healing, I get it. But don't lose us in the mending. Alex cupped his face, thumb brushing stubble. You're my constant. The rest? Just gravity. Their kiss was fierce, reaffirming anchors in a sea of what-ifs. Summer swelled, hot and hazy, the duplex alive with chaos. Jake's barbecues drawing a motley crew. Lena with her wife, Ryan's artist pals, even Pastor Ellis for an awkward truce. Alex thrived, his freelance blooming into a junior designer role, concepts pitching to national brands. Yet in quiet moments, sketching Dad's portrait by the window, grief ambushed. Sharp as the day of the burial, Mom's absence a hollow more than a hole. One evening, as cicadas droned, Jake knocked on Alex's studio door, holding a shoebox yellowed with age. Found this in the attic cleanup. Inside, Dad's letters, unsent bundles to Mom, pleading for balance. Love them equal, Ellen. Alex's heart is wild. Let it run. Jake's hand shook as he passed one. He fought for you when we didn't. Tears blurred the ink, brothers weeping side by side, the favoritism specter exorcised in salt and snot. Ryan walked in then, pausing at the threshold, a soft smile breaking. Room for one more? He joined the huddle, the three of them a knot of flawed, fierce love, half-blood, chosen, enduring. Outside, the city pulsed, America's heartbeat in neon and steel, reminding Alex that stories don't end tidy. They layer, complicate, redeem. Fall painted Cleveland in fire, leaves crunching underfoot as Alex and Ryan navigated the West Side Market, arms laden with pumpkins and cider donuts. Their one-bedroom had evolved into a nest, walls papered in collaborative prints, a king bed commandeered from Jake's bachelor purge. Life hummed steady, mornings tangled in sheets, Ryan's whispers of stay against Alex's neck. Evenings at open mics, Alex reading poetry laced with loss and lust, Ryan's applause the loudest roar. Jake's transformation anchored the orbit. Single now, he dove into community college for social work. Gonna unfuck the systems that fucked us, he'd say with a grin, volunteering at the LGBTQ+ center where Alex's posters hung proud. Their duplex Sundays became sacred. Jake's chili simmering, board games devolving into debates on everything from Marvel heroes to reparations. You're softer now, Alex told him one crisp October night, beers in hand on the shared porch. Jake chuckled, smoke from his rare cigarette curling skyward. Nah, just visible, like you always were. But peace is prelude to peril. The agency's holiday pitch loomed, a national campaign for a family-focused brand, wholesome vignettes of real America. Alex's team lead tapped him for leads. Your eye for emotion, Alex. Nail that heartfelt vibe. He poured soul into it, storyboards of fractured kin mending over Thanksgiving tables, subtle nods to diverse loves. A hand on a knee under checkered cloth, rainbows in pie crusts. Ryan reviewed drafts over wine, his feedback sharp. Make it hurt first. That's where the hope lands. The presentation nailed it. Clients weeping into handkerchiefs. Contracts signed with fanfare. Buzz hit socials. Alex Rivera, rising star in inclusive design. Pride swelled, but so did exposure. A week later, an email from an Elmwood address. Anonymous, attached a grainy photo. Teen Alex at a Chicago Pride march, arm around a boy not Ryan, face young and unguarded. Town remembers. Keep your art in the city, fairy. The old venom resurfacing like oil on water. Alex deleted it, but sleep evaded. Nightmares of diners stares morphing into boardroom scrutiny. Ryan found him at dawn, hunched over cold coffee. Talk, he commanded gently, fingers lacing through Alex's. The confession tumbled, fear of the past eclipsing progress, of being too much for a world that tolerated but never embraced. Ryan's eyes darkened, not with pity, but fire. Then we burn it down. Together. He grabbed his sketchbook, and by noon, they drafted a response. Not defense, but defiance. A viral thread of Alex's journey. Illustrations by Ryan, Jake moderating comments from the center's safe space. The post exploded, shares from influencers, messages of solidarity flooding in, even Lena chiming with legal threats to harassers. But backlash brewed. Trolls dredging mom's obituary, twisting her traditional eulogy into ammo. Jake called midstorm. There at the house, reporters sniffing for dirt. Want me to stonewall? His protectiveness, once absent, now a shield. Alex hesitated. Then, no. Invite them. Tell the truth. The Elmwood interview aired local news. Jake on camera. Steady as oak. My brother's gay. So what? He's the bravest man I know. Mom learned too late. I won't. Backlash crested. Then ebbed, drowned by ally voices. Ryan pulled Alex through it. Their love a bunker. Impromptu dates at the Rock Hall, dancing to vinyl spins of Springsteen ballads, bodies close against the chill. Climax brewed in December, snow dusting the duplex like confectioner's sugar. The agency called Alex in not for praise but peril. Lead client, a conservative donor, pulled funding over the controversy. Tone it down, Alex, his boss urged, face pinched. Or we can't keep you. The room spun, favoritism's echo in corporate guise. Fit the mold or fracture. Alex walked out, badge surrendered, heart a war drum. He drove aimlessly, landing at the Cuyahoga's edge, ice-fringed banks mocking his thaw. Ryan texted, wherever you are, come home. Jake, we got you. But doubt roared, failure's son, shadow eternal. Hours passed, phone dead, until headlights pierced the dusk. Ryan's beat-up Civic, Jake's shotgun. They piled in, no questions, just presence. Ryan's hand on his thigh, Jake cracking knuckles like pre-game ritual. Back at the duplex, fire crackling, truths unfurled. Lost the job, Alex admitted, voice small. Ryan squeezed. Their loss. Your supernova. Jake nodded. Remember Dad's garage? Blew a gasket on that old Ford, cursed a blue streak, then fixed it better. You're the fix, Alex, not the break. Vulnerability cracked him open, sobs heaving as they held him, a triad of mended fractures. Dawn brought clarity. Alex emailed portfolios to indie studios, Ryan pitching joint murals for queer nonprofits. Jake connected him to center gigs, workshop facilitator, his story the curriculum. Rejection's sting faded, replaced by momentum. A viral collab with Ryan, installations in galleries, Jake's social work thesis on familial bias citing Alex's arc. New Year's Eve. They climbed Edgewater Park's bluffs, city fireworks blooming below. Ryan knelt in the snow. Not proposal, but promise. This year, we chase the light, no shadows. Alex pulled him up, kissing fierce against the burst of color. Jake hooped, popping champagne. To us, flawed as fuck, fierce as family. The night blurred into vows unspoken, love's quiet thunder. Alex realized then, betrayal hadn't defined him. It refined him. In America's vast, varied tapestry, suburbs to skylines, humanity lay in the weave, threads of pain and passion knotted into something unbreakable. Spring 2026 unfurled gentle, cherry blossoms carpeting Tremont streets like whispered apologies. Alex's indie gig with a queer-owned design collective took root. Remote briefs for podcasts, book covers pulsing with emotion, his signature style, layered vulnerability in vector lines. Ryan's street art caught a collector's eye, commissions rolling in for murals that mapped marginalized joy. The duplex thrummed fuller, Jake's unit hosting potlucks with his study group, a rainbow of backgrounds debating policy over pad thai. Yet growth's gift is reflection. Alex visited Elmwood alone in April, the colonial sold but Dad's tools rehomed in Jake's garage workshop. A shed out back, smelling of sawdust and second axe. He traced the lathe Dad had taught him on Ghosts Companionable Now. A letter to Mom, unsent, poured onto pages. You favored him to armor yourself. I forgive, not forget, but free. Burning it in the fire pit, ashes spiraling, released the last tether. Ryan proposed that summer, casual as sunrise. Over pancakes at a diner booth. Ring a hammered silver band etched with their first mural's phoenix. Not a cage, he said, sliding it on. A compass. Alex's yes was breathless. Wedding plans sketched like art. Backyard vows in the duplex yard. Jake officiating with Lena's blessing. Guests a mosaic of chosen kin. The ceremony dawned golden. September sun gilding the chain-link fence strung with fairy lights. Jake stood tall in linen shirt, vows weaving brotherhood's redemption. Alex taught me love's not zero-sum. It's infinite, like Dad's patience. Ryan's words gut-punched tender. You eclipsed my solitude, Alex. Now we shine tandem. Alex, voice steady. From shadows to this, you both my light. Vows exchanged, cheers erupted. Fireflies winking approval as they danced to a playlist of anthems. Chapel Roan for the Queens, Brandy Carlisle for the heart. Jake pulled Alex aside mid-revelry. Eyes misty. Proud little bro. It's legacy. They clinked glasses, the favoritism scar a faint line. Proof of healing's artistry. Months later, as leaves turned, Alex's first solo exhibit opened in a Lodo warehouse. Eclipse series, portraits of fractured loves mended. Jake mid-laugh, Ryan sketching, Mom's imagined smile soft in sunset. Critics hailed it humanist triumph, but Alex's measure was Ryan's squeeze, Jake's nod from the crowd. Life layered on, Jake's degree, a job at family services dismantling bias cycles. Ryan's gallery show, Alex curating. A dog named Phoenix, chaos incarnate. Holidays blended traditions. Thanksgiving at the center. Hanukkah lights with Ryan's Jewish aunt. Christmas Eve toasting Dad by the tree. One winter night, snow blanketing the city mute. Alex woke to Ryan's murmur. Dreaming again? Nightmares rarer, but echoes lingered. Old stuff? Alex whispered, burrowing close. But we won. Ryan's laugh rumbled. Ongoing victory, babe. That's the plot twist. In America's heartland sprawl, from Ohio's quiet folds to Cleveland's gritty pulse, Alex found humanism's core. Not perfection, but persistence. Betrayal's blade had carved space for deeper loves. Conflict's fire forged resilience. He wasn't the favorite son, nor the shadow. He was the story, vivid and vital, loved wholly in the light he claimed. Years hence, with kids of their own, adopted whirlwinds teaching fresh graces, Alex would tell them, family's the brave choice. Blood helps, but heart holds. Jake, uncle extraordinaire, nodding. And forgiveness? It's the sequel that steals the show. Under star-strewn skies, with Ryan's hand in his, Alex knew. Endings aren't tragedies or triumphs. They're invitations to begin again. Romantic and raw, forever American.